Good afternoon. Well, another extraordinary international weekend of rugby, and of course highlights of both internationals in our programme today. And I'm delighted to welcome into the studio, with total freedom to give their own points of view later on, David Frost, rugby correspondent of The Guardian, and regular Ian Robertson of the Sunday Times. And in deference to those of you who've written to say, please don't give away the results, I'll pass no further comment on the matches. If you've managed to avoid hearing the results, that is. Let's go first of all to Cardiff with Wales against Ireland. Wales, a new look side this season. Ireland bidding for further triumph and bidding for a first win at the Arms Park since 1967.
Ireland understandably sticking with the same 15 that's already taken them to 2 victories, 14 of them in victory over Wales last season. Philip Orr, Moss Keane, Fergus Slattery and Willie Duggan together for the 22nd time in international rugby. And the Welsh side, which Eddie Butler captains for just the 3rd time, surrounded by his Pontypool clubmates in the pack, and just one change from the impressive victory over Scotland, the late recall of the most capped player in today's Welsh side, Graham Price, back for his 40th cap, and 5 members there of Pontypool in the pack. And the referee in charge of his 3rd major international, Tony Trigg, from the London Society and the Rugby Football Union. Ollie Campbell, on his birthday, starts this vital international. Line out just outside the Welsh 22, deflected by Butler. Fergus Slattery charging through, but Wales regain possession. Norster there trying to work it back. The pile-up ensues. Number 1 there is Staff Jones, and of course had that spectacular debut try, as indeed did the other prop forward, Graham Price, back in 1975 in Paris. On the near side, David Pickering, the flanker, number 7. Holmes waits as Ireland wheel it. Holmes, strong, look at that. Still Holmes, up to the 10-metre line. So typical of the man. But the Irish pack have won it back. McGrath to Campbell for position. Wyatt scurrying across. Safe enough as Ringland came in. And the referee deciding it was late and gives Wales a penalty, not a touch. And here a newcomer, Mark Wyatt, settling down so well his first international season. And again, the rock solid, safe with the clearance. Product of Brecon Grammar School, Swansea University. Jerry McLoughlin, the 30-year-old, Ireland's throw, just outside the Welsh 22. Lenihan's tap. Untidy for McGrath, took his half for a moment. Price was through, so was Butler. Billy James now, tackled by Campbell. Just inside the Irish half, but the ball played after the tackle, so the ground lost. Campbell, again the variation by Ireland, trying to catch Wales by surprise. Elgan Rees in, looked like a knock-on, but maybe not, or is the referee waiting for advantage? Just outside the Welsh 22. In possession is Dacey. Dacey running outside Orr, setting it up to Clive Rees. There's that cut back inside, which he loves. Taken on by Dacey again to Butler. Good support. But the ball came out loose and Moss Keane was onside. The rather fortunate recovery that for the Irish. And instead, it's an Irish penalty as Wales came and fringed offside.
But it must have been particularly heartening for the Welsh supporters to see Wales virtually an identical move to the one that led to the score by Elgan Rees against Scotland, where we saw Malcolm Dacey from a deep defensive position setting away Clive Rees again on the wing, and Wales particularly trying to play a fluid game here when both sides really are trying to spend the first 10 or 15 minutes to settle down.
Well, here's an interesting moment because Ciaran Fitzgerald has in fact called up Hugo MacNeill for this kick at goal. Ollie Campbell and Kieran discussed it, and for this long effort, Hugo MacNeill, maybe there's a slight nagging muscle injury for Campbell, because it certainly could be within his range. But McNeill, a very useful place kicker himself, scored a drop goal against England 2 years ago. So a chance at first points in the match. That's well struck, but it may not carry. It has. And what a decision by Fitzgerald and Campbell to allow McNeill to come up, score his first penalty for Ireland, and give them the lead 9 minutes into this first half. And a thumbs-up sign I just saw from Ciaran Fitzgerald. How thrilled he must be with that decision, and what a kick by McNeill.
Well, Ireland are very much a mature side, and of course their Triple Crown victory last year would have put them in a position where they no longer fear coming to any ground in the world. And it was a mighty kick by McNeill, but more than anything, it's given Ireland a hell of a lot of confidence.
So Wyatt to restart. Ringland in his own 22, and had to hurry a little to get that one away as Price and Butler came through. Ireland's 22-metre line. So deflection giving Ireland a throw-in. Meant for Lenihan again, lifting in the line-out. A penalty to Wales. Philip Orr penalised, and that'll be in 15 metres, which allows Mark Wyatt to give the riposte just a minute after Ireland went ahead. So can Wyatt pull it back level after 11 minutes of this first half. Slight breeze in Wales' face in this half. And there's the answer.
And so important, obviously, to keeping contention at this level. And Mark Wyatt has proven once again that he is really very much the man for the moment. And I can't see this game differing from any other international where both goal kickers will play an important part.
Yeah, you can't ignore that, can you? I mean, goal kicks still win internationals or lose them.
Yes, and of course what can be soul-destroying is that you can win a lot of possession, you can be in, try scoring positions, but at the end of the day, it's the man who kicks the ball between the posts that inevitably wins the match.
Ollie Campbell's restart then. Kicks it long. Elgan Rees thinks about touching it down, and in fact ran over the goal line and couldn't thereby run back inside and touch it down. I don't think he intended to do that, but he got his clearance in anyway. But it does allow Ireland to throw in right on Wales 22. Ciaran Fitzgerald, the Irish Army captain. 5 out of 6 times a winning captain for his country. Holmes, Dacey. And that looked very sound. Two-man line called this time with Lenihan at front, O'Driscoll at the back, as Ireland ring the changes set piece. Down from Norster. Graham Price through to Jeff Squire, but knocked on. The referee waits for any Irish advantage. None comes, so they'll get the put in at the scrummage. Orr, Keane, Slattery and Duggan in this Irish pack together for the 22nd time. Wales this time try to wheel it. Ball held by the Irish back row, just inside the Welsh half midfield. It's come back to McGrath. Kiernan bounced off the first tackle by Elgan Rees. Set back by Duggan across to Moss Keane. He's switched it to Campbell. Kiernan now. Possible 3-2 here. Irwin, Ringland and McNeill outside. Ringland still. Inside now to Irwin. A chance for McNeill. Lovely dummy out because he hadn't the chance to get through, and Slattery is over, but the ball had already gone forward. Brilliant switch, really, that made that opportunity on the far right. Pressure still on this Welsh pack, and virtually the whole of the first 24 minutes with a few exceptions, has been inside the Welsh half. And again, Wales tried to break out, this time up from Butler to Holmes to Dacey. Again, Campbell perilously close, and the pressure on, telling once more. Moss Keane. And that really is a mighty Gary Owen, dropping on Wyatt. Recovered well. And it really is quite a mortar barrage that's falling on the Welsh fullback. And a very obvious deliberate tactic from the Irish. But still, 25 minutes have gone. Irish pressure or no, it's still 3-3. A penalty each. Ireland again inside the Welsh 22. Fitzgerald for Duggan. And it's a penalty for a bit of barging at the tail of that line out, and Ireland have a chance to go ahead again. And this time it's Ollie Campbell called up to do it. Well, 4 penalties against France last time out, and a conversion, but a total of 5 successful out of 11 kicks at goal is way below his regular average. How is he on his birthday? Just like that. "26 minutes gone, and need I add, it's Campbell that's put Ireland ahead."
Well, everything that can be said has been said about that man. He's so precise, isn't he? And his record proves it along the years. There is only one way to nullify a man like Ollie Campbell, and that is don't give away penalties. I wonder if Wales will learn from that lesson and try and keep it very much to a minimum during the rest of the match.
So reward for all that pressure finally comes. Less than a quarter of an hour of this half to go. Mark Wyatt with the restart. McGrath leaves it for Trevor Ringland. Unspectacular, but a sensible safety first thing. One of the 2 Ulster players in this Irish side. Of course, a sport in which Ireland is at one. Long throw by Billy James to Jeff Squire on the burst. Now for once Wales inside Ireland's 22. And a penalty in front of the post as Ireland go diving over the top. And just like before, having established a lead of 3 points, they give Wales an immediate opportunity to come back and level it. 3 already today. Can he now put it level again? 12 minutes to half-time. Wyatt.
Well, it was a long ball over the top of the line out that set it up, that ruck situation for Wales, with Jeff Squire driving in. Hence the Irish in the desperation to stop the loose ball, which was a superb ball for Terry Holmes to come back to him, gave away the penalty. But Wales also realising that they possibly have to revert to the shortened line out because the ball from the 8-man line out is far too untidy for their scrum half.
So level we stay. And of course, all those men in that Irish side, never winners at the Arms Park. Good work by Norster. Holmes has a dabble himself. Billy James, the link man. That's Bob Ackerman's kick. It's useful too. Well, there's a player, Gareth, who's certainly doing his Lions' chances a lot of good this season.
Yes,
Bob Ackerman.
And he showed against Scotland how much Wales had missed him in the match against England, because he brings a lot of maturity and steadiness to the back division.
So Wales, the closest they've been to the Irish goal line. About 7 minutes of this half to go. Ireland's throw in. Shortened to 4 men. Moss Keane at the back, but it was Lenihan. McGrath in trouble. And forced to give away the 5-metre scrummage push-in. And the unanimous word around these packed stands is heave. So all the options here for Terry Holmes. Dummy scissors with his fly half to the outside centre. And Wyatt through. Great try. And what a fine first try for Wales.
And I think it's the fear of Terry Holmes running with the ball. that sets up this try for Wales. Apart from that magnificent long pass to Wyatt, who was coming in at full speed into the line, really the Irish are possibly keeping one eye on Holmes, therefore allowing Wyatt to come in unopposed into the line.
So 10-6 and Wyatt attempting to convert his own try. No mistake either. Oh, what a joyous moment for the 26-year-old Swansea fullback. With just over 5 minutes of this half to go, Wales ahead for the first time. Lovely dummy scissors to set it up. And then the pass from Richards to Wyatt. Just as straightforward as that, like clockwork. And Wales all of a sudden look to have all the confidence in the world.
Well, the try obviously has set Wales off on the trail, so to speak, but Ireland have looked a little bit complacent during that first half, although they were winning a lot of possession.
Wales again, Dacey, Wyatt, and it's all going right, and Clive Rees has a chance. Can he control it? He's got the pick-up, he's about a metre short, and the ball not released in the tackle. And so nearly a second try in the space of a minute and a half. Rees just didn't get the lucky screw as he chipped it through. And so nearly his first try for Wales. But not to be. Campbell tries to steady it down again.
Well, if there's a message to be learned from this movement, is that you can't be complacent at this level. A fine kick through again by Ackerman, and Clive Rees showing how quickly he can run. And really, if it hadn't been for that bad bounce, he would surely have scored.
Holmes, Dacey, neat jink. Still Dacey. But the supporting pass went to Ireland, and here's a chance of a breakout. Irwin. And now Ringland. Ringland against Wyatt. Looks for support. Campbell's the man with him. Tries to keep it alive. Brilliant counter-attack. Almost 2 minutes of injury time played. Duggan's tap. Philip Orr on the peel. Breaks through the initial tackle of Pickering. Moss Keane one-handed as ever. Slattery the link. O'Driscoll. Don't know how that one came out, but it did. Campbell on the switch. Kiernan and Elgan Rees did well then. Took the man early. Campbell still trying to get it away. Kiernan now. Slattery. Good marking by the Welsh. But the Irish pack have won it to McGrath. But he in turn loses it, and Holmes says enough of this nonsense. Moss Keane in trouble. Elgan Rees. The ball not in touch. Or is it an offside decision that's going to be blown for? It is. Play can stop because Elgan Rees adjudged offside. And what a dangerous kick through that proved to be. And indeed no time for the restart as the half-time whistle goes. A truly enthralling first half, with Ireland territorially dominant, with a 3-point lead twice in the first quarter of the match before Wyatt brought them back level and then scored a superb try. And it's amazing just how much difference a try like that can make to a side. Wales back ahead and leading 12-6. So second half starts, and what a titanic struggle this promises to be as Mark Wyatt, Wales' hero so far, forces an error out of Ollie Campbell on his own goal line. The referee waits for any possible advantage, and I even think Holmes was going to think of a drop goal had he been allowed to play on, but Wales will be more than happy with that opening sally. A rare Campbell error on his own goal line, and Wales get the scrummage put in. Holmes, those sleeves rolled up as ever. They have the strike. Holmes tries to dive under himself. He's done it again. He got through and underneath. What a start to the second half. And how appropriate, really. It should be Terry Holmes, his 7th try for Wales.
Well, what does one say? From this distance, there's not much stopping Terry Holmes. You see how he drew out Slattery initially, just to give himself that half a yard on the inside, and the man is so strong that even though he was well wrapped by Slattery and the rest of the back row, his strength took him over.
The key thing there, isn't it? Getting underneath with that initial tackle.
It's the low centre of gravity, obviously. The Welsh pack did well to hold the drive from the Irish pack, and that allowed Holmes that split second he needed.
Mark Wyatt. Well, they don't come closer than that, but nevertheless, the vital factor, the lead now of a clear 10 points, and the master at work. No fitness troubles for him, and Holmes again. Restart by Ollie Campbell. Eddie Butler. And how happy he must be the way things are working out. Dacey, Richards. That's Wyatt in the line with Clive Rees outside. It's well placed too. Kicks like that get enormous applause, but I sometimes wonder whether the pass out to the wing might not prove more beneficial even.
Yes, but I'm sure that Wales now obviously don't want to throw away this advantage of enjoying this lead, and possibly we may see a little bit of safety first tactics coming into play for the first 10 minutes or so in the second half.
Well, they're 10 points clear and in possession again. Terry Holmes shrugs off one tackle, tries the other side, and that's almost straight up and down. But it's the Welsh pack setting it back to Holmes once more. Dacey looks for the long drop goal attempt across the face of the post. McNeill there safely. And that's the wild pass. Moss Keane scampers back. And nearly a giveaway try. And no doubt it's the Irish that are showing a bit of vulnerability under pressure in these opening 3 minutes of this second half. And Wales have to put in 5 metres out. Butler with Squire in support. He's the link man to Holmes. Dacey, Ackerman, runs at Campbell, gets the feed through to Pickering. Still 5 metres out. Holmes again. Squire, can he reach for it? And a brave tackle that sent him backwards. And he tried to link the ball after the tackle, and so Ireland get the relieving penalty. What an onslaught. But Ireland survived that one. Campbell finds safety in touch out on the 22. Well, there's the tackle of O'Driscoll, and what a thumping tackle it was. Well, what a task now for Ciaran Fitzgerald to try and remuster his troops. Wyatt's kicked through. O'Neill there did well. Still in play, Eddie Butler takes on his opposite number, Ciaran Fitzgerald. The rival captains and in contrasting fortunes at the moment. That was well done by Norster. Dacey, Ackerman, Richards, Wyatt, Elgan Rees behind, outside him. Moss Keane goes back, Rees chases, Elgan Rees has possession. Joy unbounded. Well, you'd think it was his birthday, not Ollie Campbell's. Elgan Rees a try against Scotland, and now another to make it 6 for Wales.
Well, what is rather pleasing here is to see the ball moved orthodoxly across the line. Now, Mark Wyatt, I thought, did the right thing in kicking then, but you must blame the Irish defence for that muddle, and Elgan Rees must have thought it was Christmas.
Well, down the line it was. Richards, and there's the good time of the run from Mark Wyatt. And that really was a killer, wasn't it? Moss Keane, cruel luck, but Elgan Rees knew what to do. And Ireland aren't finished yet, as France and Scotland have already found to their cost. Those two countries ahead in the earlier internationals before Ireland came back to win. Let's not forget that. Dacey. And the errors from Wales. The pick up by O'Driscoll. A chance for Ringland. Held by Clive Rees. And out in the very corner. Wales cut the line, throw long to Squire, practice move. Tempestuous moments. And Ireland, I think, get the scrummage put in. I was about to say an important scrummage this if it takes place.
Well, they're so close to the line, I think a try is inevitable, but of course those defences have got something else to say about that.
The back row hold. Ireland go for the pushover. Duggan, I don't think, had the ball in his hands. O'Driscoll retrieves it. Still on that Welsh goal line.
I think Ireland was so surprised across the line they forgot to fall on the ball then, Nigel.
Well, the try was on. The wheel had taken them over, but the ball lost. So knocked on because it's Ireland's put in again, right on that Welsh line. And these Irish veterans will be giving everything for this put-in. McGrath. Held by Duggan. Has a go himself, but tries to go over the top. But it's Wales offside that gives Ireland a penalty. They'd rather have had the try. And here's an important decision. Ireland desperate for points. They're 14 adrift. But Ciaran Fitzgerald realises there's still 25 minutes plus to go. So here's Campbell. And how about that? Back in the groove again. Ollie Campbell. His second penalty of the match. 31 points now in this championship already and keeping Ireland in the hunt. But it's still a long hill to climb. Quarter of an hour of this second half gone. Wyatt's restart. Campbell. Notice how he turned as he took that kick so that should he not take it cleanly, the ball wouldn't be knocked forward. Well down from Bob Norster. Dacey. David Richards nicely floated to Elgan Rees. The early pass. Ackerman back in support. Held by MacNeill. Elgan Rees the scrum half. David Richards. Dacey. And the flyer. Clive Rees outside. Great tackle from Ringland. Campbell with the hack through. Back there is Wyatt. Almost as if to obstruct Campbell there rather than go for the ball, I thought. And Ireland win it again. The kick through by Trevor Ringland. Back goes Butler, Wales captain. He did not release the ball. And it's a penalty to Ireland, about 30 metres out from the goalposts. And 20 points to 9, Ireland trailing, and Campbell called up to try and make it an 8-point margin, and that certainly would keep Irish hopes still alive. Again, one recalls that they're specialists at coming back to win in the last quarter. Can Campbell set them on their way again? He needs this one badly. But not today. And perhaps when it mattered most. 10 minutes remain. And another few valuable seconds gone as Wyatt finds a safe touch. Well, a remarkable resurgence indeed it's been by Wales. 6 of the pack, only 23 caps between them. Price and Squire, the two men of any real experience. But it's Ireland still with vim and vigour on the halfway line. David Irwin took the loose ball. Thank you very much, says Terry Holmes. Points, Wales still ahead. Tap back from Duggan. And Ciaran Fitzgerald not happy with the penalty against Ireland. And here's Wyatt. And that might be the nail in the coffin as far as Ireland are concerned. Wyatt with his third successful penalty to add to a try and conversion, and that looks substantial enough for Wales. It's a poor pass, brilliantly picked up by Irwin, and a chance if he can follow it through. Irwin there, the ball loose, and still Slattery now, but knocked forward, and the chance lost. Fergus Slattery, who scored here 2 years ago against Wales, and that would have been only small compensation as it was for him then, because Wales won and looked set to do so again with only 3 minutes to go. So a side that's had to pick itself up from defeat here against Scotland of considerable proportions at the end of last season, a draw against England, and a substantial win on the cards against Ireland. And that's quite an uptrend on any graph. Irwin fells Ackerman, midfield about 10 metres outside the Irish 22. And that indeed is it. Wales are back in style. A convincing win, a great team effort. What a renaissance. They keep their remarkable home record against Ireland intact, can now go on to win the championship outright if they beat France in Paris. For Ireland, a day of what might have been. The dreams have faded, and they can only hope at best for a share in the championship.
Well then, Terry, your shoulder injury before the match was really unfounded.
Yeah, it was a bit sore before in training before Thursday, but Jerry Lewis had been working hard on it along with some of the physios, and thank God he stood up to the test pretty well.
And you've got no real effect after the match?
No, it's a bit stiff, you know, but I think give it 24 hours, it should be okay now.
Well, it didn't seem to affect you anyway. Well, for the first half hour, I felt that Ireland really were on top, and they weren't really giving you much possession.
That's right. I think we were expecting a big start from Ireland, and as long as we could contain them with a Welsh crowd at our backs, you know, we were looking forward to the latter half.
Well, really, I thought the crucial stage in the match, really, was the try that he created for Mark Wyatt.
Yes, that's right. It's a move we've been planning, and if you remember the England game, Rich was through on and probably would have went under the post, but he lost his footing. But today, you know, I think the same as up in Scotland, we've had a little bit of green a bit, the bounce of the ball, and today things come off for us.
And of course, Bob Norster began to win some useful possession in the line-out as well.
That's right, you know, Bob have had a couple of very good games, and I think his confidence is growing. The same as all the team, you know, with there's good team spirit there, and with Bev and Cobb looking after us, we're doing quite well.
But I particularly enjoyed your try. Tell me about it.
Well, I think it was a scrum. Ollie got the ball. It was a scrum on the line, and Fergus was hanging on, and he just gave me a little bit to go over, but with the pack piling in, I just managed to make it.
Oh, well, Slat possibly went a bit high for you, did he?
Well, I don't know. You know, I think he was waiting for me, but with the back row pushing me and gave me the momentum to get over the line and score.
Great. Delightful try. Congratulations, Terry.
Thanks very much.
Well, Terry Holmes and David Frost, yet again, a very important figure on the field.
Oh, marvellous, yes. I don't think I've ever seen him play better, and whether he was fully fit or not, I think he seems to be right on top at the moment of his form. I think beautifully.
Yeah. I mean, one wonders, in fact, had he not been there, if Wales would have been as effective as they proved to be.
Yeah, certainly, because, I mean, a scrum half in any case is in a key position, but when you can do so many things apart from the basic scrum half job as he does, I quite agree. I think he makes a tremendous difference to the side as a whole.
Were you surprised at the way the game went and that Wales was so convincing in the end?
Yes, I was. I didn't think they were all that convincing, but I certainly thought after seeing Ireland play France that the Irish would get the better of the Welsh. But the difference there, I think, was that they just didn't put their game together at all in the same way as they did against France. They just weren't together. It looked in a sense as if they just sort of had a rough crossing across the Irish Sea to me. Whereas Wales, it seemed to me, are going from strength to strength. There's a little bit of the old flair there, I thought.
Mm. The thing that I thought, in retrospect, was very significant was the way that Wales soaked up the early Irish pressure without conceding more than a penalty goal early on. And
yes, I think they might well have conceded one at the first scrum of the game, but the referee didn't think so. And I thought that would have been a marvellous start for Ireland. This was a scrum, if you remember, when the Welsh forwards lined up and charged into the scrum. I think it was the first scrum of the game. And I thought immediately, 3 points to Ollie Campbell. It didn't come off.
Ian?
Yeah, I think that was reminiscent of the very good Welsh sides of the late 70s, that they were able to soak up an enormous amount of pressure and then come back and score points, which is exactly what they did. I think Wales only twice in the Irish half in the first half hour, but they got 2 penalties in that couple of brief sorties, and that was the 6 points. Otherwise, they held the Irish, and the Irish backs were a bit unimaginative, I thought. They never really looked like scoring, apart from one great counter-attack from the loose.
You know, with none of them having won ever in Cardiff, do you think there was something of sort of the stage fright element in it?
Oh, I don't know about that. No, I think they put up such a tremendous effort against France. I think they just couldn't reproduce it. That's my feeling about it.
They just weren't good enough, Ireland, on the day, although the forwards did quite well in the first half. But the Welsh played the same sort of tactical game they played against Scotland. They soaked in the back row, and by doing a lot of moves with Squire, Butler and Holmes, they tied in the Irish back row and then spread the ball wide, and some of their back running was very, very good. And Wyatt came in the line very well.
Well, yes, I mean, Wyatt, there's one of the players, surely, who's, on yesterday's evidence, improved his Lions' chances enormously, and there must have been a few others too.
I would say Wyatt certainly did, yes. And, well, Wyatt, I think, he actually didn't play so well in the last quarter of the game. Remember, he started missing kicks, and he also dropped 1 or 2 passes, but generally I would say Wyatt certainly put himself into the Lions' turn.
And Ackerman's done very well. I think they missed him badly, Wales, when they played the first match of the season against England. Since he's come back, he's added a bit of solidity, and he's got that lovely left foot, which is able to get raking kicks downfield. And he's also a powerful runner, and he tackles so well. So I think he's bound to go in the Lions now. Both wings had their moments yesterday, but I would doubt either of those will go. Mm. And Dacey's improved with each game. He's now looking a very competent player.
I was impressed by Norster.
I was going to say, I think Norster, he seems to be getting better and better as Wales get better and better. I mean, he's actually a very good forward, quite apart from those amazing line-out jumps that he can do for a fairly short man. Actually, I always thought he should play at the front of the line-out, but he seems to prefer the middle and gets away with it.
He did very well, and also Squire had a wonderful match. He was the outstanding forward against Scotland, and I think he was again yesterday, and I think the Lions selectors have already made one effort to try and get him to persuade him to go on the tour, and I'm sure they'll do it again, because he had a marvellous match yesterday.
Conversely, of course, a few Irishmen have perhaps dented their hopes somewhat.
Yes, well, half the pack, I think, are already unavailable for the tour, and the other half might be lucky to get anybody on it. I felt that Lenihan was outplayed badly yesterday at the line-out, but he has played well in the other matches, and I would think he'd be the one forward would be sure to go on the Lions tour. But with most of their back row unavailable, I would think they wouldn't have that many more forwards on the trip, David.
Not forwards, no, but I would have thought some of the backs might. I know Moss Keane made 1 or 2 bad mistakes on Saturday, but I still thought he has a knack of scoring tries. He scored an awful lot of tries for Ireland. I just thought he might go, and
Ollie, of course.
Oh, Ollie, of course, yes. And also, I rather like both the centres. I think they're playing pretty well. David Irwin's a strong centre. Right,
well, we can follow this line of conversation a bit further on, but let's first of all have a look at the other goings-on, because, of course,